Welcome to Touchdown Town on BetsTV. I'm Gilles Gallant with FTN Bets and BetsTV. It's week 7. We're going to be here every Sunday morning helping you make top quality decisions for your anytime touchdown prop bets. And I want to welcome in my esteemed co-host, Brenden Deeg of the National Football Post, who is head to toe, underwear included in Eagles gear. And Brenden, welcome to the show. We're going to get started here with touchdown scores very shortly. I wanted to just remind everybody as well to check out my weekly show as well on BetsTV. That's at Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, called Dog Day Afternoon. This past week, we had the one and only Sharky Waters Nation, who helped bring some advice and life tips for sports betting and life in general. So great show. I hope you guys can tune in and check us out next Tuesday with that as we preview week 8. So we're going to get started with touchdown scores, Brenden, and it's tight end week. And we have 10 picks. 3 of them are going to be tight ends today. I'm going to kick us off here, and you're going to have 2 tight ends as part of your 5-pick slate. And first pick of the week, Brenden, we're going with Mike Gesicki with an anytime touchdown at plus 250. Those odds are available at FanDuel. He's second on the team in targets and red zone catches. Over his last 4 games, he has 30 catches on 44 targets. And my favorite part about Mike Gesicki is he's not just a red zone threat. He leads the team with 8 catches of over 20 yards or more. So he doesn't have to be in the red zone to be able to score a touchdown. The next player on the Dolphins, for example, is Devontae Parker with only 4. And the Falcons have allowed 11 passing touchdowns this year, Brenden. That's bottom 10 in the NFL. 4 of those touchdowns have been to tight ends. Mike Gesicki, I think, is going to score a touchdown this week on the road to Atlanta. That's my first pick of week 7.
It's got to be game of the week, no? Falcons versus Dolphins.
I don't even think I'm going to watch Red Zone. I'm just going to put that on the main screen and just tell everybody to leave the room.
Yeah, I was looking at that matchup. There's a couple good lines, but I don't know. I don't want to be focusing on that game. I was focused on the Colts and Texans last week. I can't do that again, But
I don't think anybody wants to watch that game, even people who are probably the fans of the Colts or the Texans. So let's get started with your picks this week. I've got 1 pick in the bank. Let's hear your first pick of week 7, Brenden.
Okay, we're going to kick off tight end day with Dallas Goedert plus 240. He is officially the number 1 tight end on the Eagles. Finally, he said in the press conference earlier this week that he'd been waiting for this moment. And look, he's been kind of rotating snaps all year with Zach Ertz, playing about 55, 60%. He's going to be playing about 85, 90% of the game. He is leading the Eagles in red zone targets since week 1. And I think the Raiders defense is a tad overrated. They've allowed 6 touchdowns to tight ends this year. It's not the same amount as the Falcons, but I think this is a good pick. At plus 240, he's motivated to kind of take over that tight end position. And it's tight end day.
I think that's a great pick, Brenden. Honestly, I'm surprised that his odds are still at plus 240 because generally his odds were always in the plus 240 to plus 300 range, but that was because Zach Ertz was still on the team. And when you have those kind of 2 quality tight ends, like the odds makers kind of have to adjust odds to make sure that they account for both guys kind of rotating in and out of the lineup. Now he's not really going to be rotating with anybody, and he's been basically a touchdown fixture on that team since he joined, since his rookie season. So I think those are good 2 tight end bets for week 7. So those are our first picks. I'm going to do pick number 2 now. And this one, I found his odds super inflated at Bet365. And that's Jamar Chase. Anytime touchdown at plus 220. Again, those odds are available at Bet365. And I think he's probably the safest receiving pick for the Bengals. He leads the team in red zone targets. He nearly laps the next top receiver with the Bengals for all stats like snaps and targets and touchdowns. And the Ravens, I think a lot of people are taking the Bengals on this side as well, just whether at the plus 6 or even just on a money line spot. But the Ravens have given up 9 passing touchdowns in 2021, Brenden, and 4 of them are by 30 yards or more. So they could be beaten by a good deep ball. And the reason why I bring that up is Chase leads the team with 9 catches of 20 yards or more, and 4 of his 5 touchdowns have been by 30 yards or more from a reception standpoint. So I think this is incredible value. Plus 220, tracking the odds. That's the second highest odds he's had all season. He's been below plus 150 since week 2. So Jamar Chase at plus 220 as soon as I saw it at those odds, especially with some of the books that I've seen him now as low as maybe plus 125, plus 130, I had to grab it immediately.
I was kind of jealous when you said that to me a couple of days ago. It's plus 225. It's a steal. You got to take that. And he's doubled. So he has double the red zone targets of any wide receiver on the Bengals. So it's a no-brainer. I get it. But I think my Bengal is going to score also this week.
All right. Let's hear pick number 2 then from Brenden.
I'm going to follow that up with T. Higgins plus 230. Look, he is back healthy. He is a second wide receiver on that team. He's going to find his groove, I think. I think he's going to have a big second half of the season. I think teams are going to start looking at Jamar Chase and kind of game planning for him, trying to take him out. I was going to go with Tyler Boyd at plus 240. That's what my first thought was, but I kind of changed my mind and went with T. Higgins. It was kind of the same odds. Tyler Boyd's targets are down the last 2 weeks. And I think as second wide receiver, and like you said too, the Ravens have allowed a lot of touchdowns wide receiver. They're a weird defense. They don't allow a lot of running touchdowns. Their cornerbacks are kind of good, but they don't really play well in the red zone. I was actually surprised when I was looking up the red zone targets on the Bengals going into this game. So I'm all over T. Higgins. I think this is going to be a shootout. I don't like to spread it 6.5 too. I thought that was a little too high. I think there's a lot of people on the Bengals, and I think it's going to be like a 42-35 game. I think it's going to be last team that has the ball is going to win that one.
See, I'm kind of more on the flip side. If you had to choose, I'd probably be thinking more along the lines of Ravens win by 15 to 20 points. If I really had to kind of pick, that's what my gut tells me. I didn't end up taking a side in this game just because I felt like I could justify both sides. But I think both Higgins and Chase, I mean, we could both hit at this rate and they still lose 30 to 14, just because they decide to shut down Joe Mixon. And I think it really depends on who Marlon Humphrey is going to be matching up with.
Jamar Chase.
You would think they would be matching up with Chase, but if the Bengals are smart, they're going to try to move receivers all around the line of scrimmage to be able to try to get the best matchup. So we'll see. I mean, for me, Jamar Chase plus 220, if you're going to get him at those odds, it's not really much of I don't really need to be an expert to tell you to bet that. Whereas T. Higgins, again, he'll probably high point a ball over somebody, and I like him better than Tyler Boyd, because that was going to be my follow-up question to you is, why did you prefer T. Higgins over Tyler Boyd? And I think you kind of answered that question, just that his work has been going down in comparison to the other two wide receivers. And he's more of that physical wide receiver. Like, he's going to probably bump and run and try to get through a cornerback. Whereas I feel like T. Higgins could just high point a ball in the end zone more so than say Boyd could. Okay. Now we're going to go to pick number 3. Brenden, we're going over to the Chicago Bears, and this guy has just been, I don't want to say under the radar, but definitely emerging as wide receiver 1 with the Bears. I'm going with Darnell Mooney for an anytime touchdown at plus 350. Those odds are available at BetMGM, not Bet365, so BetMGM. And I know Allen Robinson is the top dog in Chicago, but as I was kind of mentioning, I think he's taking a little bit of a backseat to Mooney this season. He leads the team. Darnell Mooney, for example, leads the team in receptions, targets, and passing yards. He caught his first touchdown last week. In the last 3 games with Justin Fields as the certified starter, he has 13 catches on 20 targets, 3 red zone looks. And of course, playing the Buccaneers, this is the way that you attack this defense. They're 29th in receiving touchdowns allowed this year, and they're the top run defense. So the Bears, I think this has been the narrative all week by anybody who's been covering this game, is that the Bears are going to have a really difficult time to be able to run the ball on them. I just saw that they activated Damian Williams as well. So they're going to have Williams and Herbert be able to run, and maybe Fields as well. But I'm not really sure that we're going to be able to get in the end zone. Maybe Fields a little bit later. We could talk about that one. But I think Darnell Mooney, from a passing standpoint, I think he is the guy to take, because again, he is showing the best rapport right now with Justin Fields, especially on deep throws at plus 350. Let's effing go. Yeah,
Fields and Mooney have an instant connection. Fields likes to throw it deep when he scrambles out of the pocket. He's had a kind of tough start, but he's still a rookie. But yeah, this is a good pick. At plus 350, I can't believe it's that high. No brainer, 100%. But don't be talking down on Fields, man. He's got to score too.
Well, and we'll see. Again, it's just so far this year, I don't think he's had a game over 200 passing yards. I think he's only thrown 1 passing touchdown, maybe 2 so far in his short career. So again, we're going to see if he's going to be able to do that. If he could do that on this Buccaneers defense, then the outlook for Chicago will look much different. So those are 3 picks from me so far. Let's hear your 3rd pick of week 7, Brenden.
All right. I'm an Eagles fan, but this is not just a homer pick.
Here we go. The justification to start off. Here we go.
Tight end. It's National Tight End Day, Joe. We're keeping that train rolling. I'm going Zach Ertz. plus 240 at DraftKings. Look, I think this is great odds. The Houston Texans cannot stop tight ends. They've allowed 10 touchdowns to tight ends. Remember last week when I was going to take Mo Alley Cox and I kind of backed away last minute? I regretted that one. Exactly. I'm going at the Houston secondary with tight ends again. And I don't really kind of buy the slow kind of pick up the playbook. Zach Ertz is a veteran. He's been there. He's done that. I think he's going to slide in this offense, play about 75-80% of the snaps right away. And they need a playmaker at tight end position. They haven't had one. That's kind of the missing piece of this offense. I think he's going to be great for them. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with Kyler Murray. And I was surprised it's plus 240. And Goddard as well earlier. You said the same thing. I'm shocked that the odds are this high. So I'm going back-to-back former Eagle tight ends.
Yeah, I think if I was to justify, I guess, why odds makers would set him at those odds is because obviously he's moving to a new team. So even though we both trust in his veteran presence to be able to pick up the playbook and be able to figure out some of the route tree of what's going to be expected, part of it as well is just because of the amount of touchdown scores that are viable on the Cardinals. Like DeAndre Hopkins, even though he has the same type of receptions and targets as a guy like AJ Green, for example, that's who Kyler Murray is looking for generally in the red zone, seems. But he's also looked for Max Williams when he was there too, and even Dan Arnold when he was there last season. So Zach Ertz, I think, is a solid pick at plus 240. I'm worried that that Kyler just seems to kind of throw to his wide receiver, or just defaults kind of thing when he scrambles. He's either running it in himself or he just throws it as quickly as he can to nuke and just kind of hopes for the best. But Ertz is a solid pick for National Tight End Day. Moving on to pick number 4. Brenden, again, another inflated odds from Bet365. I'm not really certain why they keep offering the odds like this, but if you're going to throw me odds for DeAndre Swift at plus 225,
I can't believe this one. I'm
going to take it because, again, he's at plus 150, plus 160 at some books, but at plus 225, I'm going to take it, especially at Bet365. And the reason why is he's scored in 4 of 6 games this season, is likely the only Lions player that anyone is starting on their fantasy team. I mean, maybe TJ Hawkinson, I guess. But the reason why I love Swift again is because he leads the team in carries, overall passing targets, and red zone targets as a running back. And my favorite stat about DeAndre Swift so far, and this is one of those ones where if you're watching the Lions game this week and the first half, like they don't really get anything going, he scored all of his touchdowns in the second half so far. So again, he's out there in garbage time when it's not even close for them to be able to score or try to win the game. And the Rams, even though they are, to me, I think their defense is one of the top in the NFL, they've still allowed a running back to score in 4 of 6 weeks. And I still think we might be overrating how they fare versus running backs this season. So give me DeAndre Swift at plus 225. Again, can't believe the odds are at this spot. They're still hovering there at Bet365 when I checked this morning, especially with the fact that he's probably around plus 120, plus 130, maybe as high as plus 150 at some of the other books that I've been looking at Sunday morning.
Anytime you get a starting running back at those odds, you got to take it. And he's easily their best player, like on offense. It's not even close. Yeah, you said he leads the red zone targets. He leads in second half targets. He's Alvin
Kamara. He's Alvin Kamara,
exactly,
basically, but he's playing for the Lions. He leads like every single metric and stat that we kind of look at of trying to justify whether or not this guy has an edge. He's number one for all of them. And so it's kind of like, oh my God, like again, same thing. I don't need to be an expert. If you see the odds of over plus 200 for DeAndre Swift, you don't need to wait until 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. on a Sunday to watch our show. Go bet that ASAP.
Hey, don't send the viewers away. You got to watch Gilles for DeAndre Swift, man.
Well, if you want to watch my flow and be able to talk about DeAndre Swift for like 2 minutes, obviously more people, I would love to have you aboard. But again, if you're kind of waiting to see if whether or not this is expert analysis, if you see a DeAndre Swift or a guy like Jamar Chase ever over plus 200, go lock that bet in ASAP. So that's my 4th pick for week 7. Brenden, let's hear your 4th pick for the 7th week of the NFL season.
Okay, you kind of teased it earlier, and you were kind of talking down on it, but Justin Fields plus 370 against that Buccaneers run defense. Look, I know teams are just not running the ball against them. It's not the fact that they're actually good at stopping the run. They are, but teams are just shying away from it. And I think the Bears offense needs some juice. They're going to be looking for him in the red zone. And I couldn't believe that it was plus 370. He was always in like the plus 195 to 250 range all year. This one caught both of us off guard earlier this week. So It's my biggest odds of the week. It's not like last week when I had some long shots. So I guess this is my long shot of the week. But I think I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do going forward in the season. I think they're going to start game planning for him as well. Yeah, plus 370, sign me up.
Well, and again, let me offer a caveat of why I maybe talked down the pick, because again, at over plus 300, that's a great pick. And so let me just reiterate that. The reason why I was a little worried about it is because I've seen him play against what I would argue is worse defenses. Like, I thought for sure he was going to score against Detroit the week that David Montgomery rushed for 2, and he didn't even try. Like, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like one of those discouraging things, like where it's like, man, you have the legs, you have the ability. Why aren't you trying to kind of maybe run this team over? And maybe it was a little handicapping from Matt Nagy, just of the way that the offense is running. But over plus 300 against this defense, you get into the red zone, anything can happen. And he has the athleticism and ability to do it. I'm just part of it, I guess, why maybe I would talk down on the pick as well, is just because of being in this offense. Like, I find that they kind of set him up to fail more often than not. And that's been kind of an issue with me with the Bears in general. So even the Mooney pick, part of why I like it is just because of the odds and because of Fields' propensity to want to throw deep to him. But he is still a rookie quarterback. And if he starts panicking, in the red zone, and you're playing against the team that I don't think Levante David is going to play as well.
He's
so
not.
Again, they're missing one of their best linebackers as well. If he can get away from guys like Vita Vea and Jason Pierre-Paul, he's going to be able to get into the end zone because the secondary can't tackle either. And they're missing, and Bucs are missing one of their best linebackers. So again, let that kind of be in the record that it's not that I don't like the pick. I just have some reservations, and that's about it. That's just a healthy debate amongst players, people who are betting it. Again, if you get them over plus 300, run to your sports book. So that's pick 4 for Brenden. I'm going to do a quarterback as well this week, Brenden, and I cashed on him in the last primetime game against the Buffalo
both did.
Bills.
That was the biggest pick. Yeah, that was the one.
It was one of those. I felt like I've had a knife to the heart for the last couple of weeks. This was the one where they finally pulled the knife out, cauterized the wound, get me back up and running. And this is going to be Ryan Tannehill, anytime touchdown at plus 400. Those odds are available at BetMGM. And the reason why I love to bet Ryan Tannehill is because odds makers tend to give him what I would call pocket passer touchdown odds. Meaning, like, so he's nearly as athletic as a lot of these dual threat quarterbacks that we consider, like a Kyler Murray, like a Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm not going to put him on Lamar Jackson level of athleticism, but again, being a former wide receiver, he has definitely the ability to scramble and not just kind of go between the tackles and be able to run over the edge. So he scored twice this season, both at home versus the Colts and the Bills. And the Chiefs are bottom 3 in DVOA for rush defense. They have 9 rushing touchdowns allowed, 3 to quarterbacks. Both rank as the second worst in the NFL. And I think the Chiefs are going to do everything they can to sell out the run and try to stop Derrick Henry in the red zone, which I think plays in our favor because the Bills did the same thing and they left Tannehill alone and he scrambled for a touchdown. And one of my favorite things about Tanny is his touchdowns come in bunches. Like last year, he had 7 rushing touchdowns, but he had 5 rushing touchdowns in a 3-game stretch. Like, so when he gets going, it's hard to stop him, much like Derrick Henry, his teammate. So at plus 400, that is probably of the 5 picks. I mean, obviously I love Jamar Chase and DeAndre Swift, but just based on the odds and opportunity, I love this pick. This is probably my favorite pick of the week.
Yeah, we were talking before we started the show. This is my favorite pick of the week too. I was jealous too, just like the Jamar Chase odds earlier. Look, he was plus 450 and he scored last week. I don't get why the odds kind of didn't drop hard. They're going to be shutting down or looking to shut down Derrick Henry. I don't know if you can possibly do that. Yeah. And so I'm like a zone read kind of play, same as last week against the Bills. They'll kind of stack the box. Tannehill keeps it. If they're inside the 5-yard line, I'm pretty confident this is going to hit.
Good. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of been my 5 picks this week. I've got a tight end, 2 wide receivers, a running back, and a quarterback. Brenden, why don't you finish strong with us and give us your 5th pick for week 7.
Okay, so I am going to the Green Bay Packers versus Washington game. And I was looking all week to find a wide receiver against Washington's defense, kind of like the Texans thing. I'm going to keep fading those defenses. I'm going Allen Lazard, plus 250. Look, he's playing. He's always on the field. He's playing over 85% of snaps every single game. Even before Marquez Valdes-Scantling got hurt, he was still playing. I know he's kind of like a blocking receiver still, and Randall Cobb's getting a little playing time, but Washington's defense is so bad against wide receivers. It's crazy. It's the biggest, like, kind of weird thing, I guess, that's happened this NFL season. What's going on with Washington's defense? They've allowed the most touchdowns to wide receivers this year. He had a touchdown last week. He's always on the field at plus 250. I think Green Bay is going to roll today too. I love that minus 7.5 spread. I'm all over this one.
So you remember, Brenden, I took him 2 weeks ago after the MVS injury. And part of what drove me crazy is because that was the week that Randall Cobb decided to explode and had two receiving touchdowns. And that's kind of, I don't want to say that I was soured from Allen Lazard after that, but that was kind of what steered me away. And then last week he scores, looks great. And I think that's just been my issue with Packers pass catchers. It's just that you really don't know outside of Devontae Adams what they're going to do week to week. Like there's some weeks where I think Aaron Jones is going to go off and then it's the A.J. Dillon show. There's weeks where I think Devontae Adams is going to go off and then Robert Tonyan catches a touchdown. Another guy who had 11 touchdowns last year has only one touchdown this year. I'm really shocked at how that's changed from an offensive standpoint, the way the Packers are playing. So at plus 250 to get a wide receiver too like this in a what I would consider a top 5 passing offense, especially with that quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now. He's probably, I think he's 11-1 to win MVP. Again, I can't say anything about it. To me, I love Lazard to be able to score this week. I did a little parlay of all your picks this week again, like I did last week, and just a little round robin bet. Just be able to scrape up some more profits. And I think Lazard and Fields and Ertz are all like looking at all these picks like Goddard, Higgins, Ertz, Fields, Lazard. This feels like at least 3 of 5 for me.
Yeah, and Aaron, you said it earlier. Aaron Rodgers is actually first in EPA per play over the last 5 weeks. Take out week 1, they got destroyed against the Saints. Scrap that week. He's been awesome since, and no one's talking about it. They're kind of sliding under the radar right now. Their offense is rolling. And thank you so much for liking my picks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, just throwing in a little arbitrary. It's part of the contract. I have to compliment you at least once per show.
Someone's got to compliment, someone's got to do it.
Well, I love if I have to carry that pail to the end, I'll do that myself. So that's no problem at all. So those are our 10 picks for week 7. 5 picks from me, 5 picks from Brenden. We'll see you next Sunday at 11 Eastern on BetsTV for Touchdown Town. And, of course, for Sunday Night Football, my touchdown score picks will be coming out later today for Colts and 49ers. You can head over to FTN Bets to get those if you want early access and you are a subscriber. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at GDog5000 and follow Brenden as well. Brenden Deeg NFP is his handle. Thank you for watching Touchdown Town. I'm Gilles Gallant with BetsTV. Bon chance.